watching the players. You know, when you first get to a place and you start incorporating what you believe in, like with receivers last year, with their stances, how you run your routes, how you practice properly, it takes a year, I swear, and I've done it so many times. It sucks a lot of your energy out of you, just getting the kids to understand how to practice properly with being detail-oriented, all right? Freakishly detail-oriented with the way that you practice. So it takes a long time, a lot of energy. And what was great to see, saw it right off the bat on Tuesday, you know, you don't have to go through that anymore. They already understand it, so now you can start ripping off reps and you can coach, you know, at the next level. You know, it's there's phases to becoming great. One is you got to learn what to do, all right? Then the next phase is you got to learn how to do it. And we're kind of in that phase now because we've kind of already learned what to do, how to practice, and now we can, you know, just like how to do it with great detail now.
So you can appreciate what Danny's going through.
Yes.
Because of what you went through last year.
Absolutely. I don't know why, but it just seems like my career, I've always been in those first year situations. You know, going to, it's crazy. My career, if you look back, I've always been with the head coach as he came in. You know, very few times was I ever hired at a place that was already established. It was always, okay, new regime, let's start this. So I've been through that process so many times. It is so good on my side of the ball to get to year two and already have that behind me.
Coach, has Blake Barnett changed his throwing mechanics? Looks a little bit tighter.
You can tell that?
Yeah.
You know, I don't really know. I'm working really hard on their feet. I've changed some things with their feet to get the, you know, some things that we've done in the past. We did it with Jared Goff and things like that, and quickening their feet, quickening their readiness to throw different routes, learning that by coverage you can cheat a drop, you can eliminate throws and single it up to 1 to 2 reads, and then quicken the whole decision-making process, which should quicken your feet up and all that stuff. So those are kind of some of the things I've changed.
Herb said the other day that you would probably be more under center and maybe run the ball more. Is that jive with what you're?
No, I love it. Hey, I mean, like, I've been part of 2 offenses that led the nation in rushing in my past, and I love running the football. It's in my blood. I love it. Today, you probably saw, you know, we worked on some 4-minute offense. I don't think so-called spread teams work on that stuff enough. So I wanted to do it right away. Like, hey, we put them in a situation. Hey, we're up. What are we gonna do? All right, we're not gonna line up in 10 personnel. All right, you know, we're gonna get some bigger dudes in there, and we're gonna run the ball, and everybody's gonna know we're gonna run the ball, which I thought we did really well last year. I really did. We finished some games last year when we had to. We got first downs at the end of the game when we had leads, and we last thing, everybody, including me, you guys, the fans, you don't want to throw your defense out there and there's a minute 20 left and they got 3 first downs 3 timeouts, and you're like, oh gosh, here we go again type stuff. I like ending games. I love that stuff, and I think we did that against Washington. Was it Washington last year? We did that against Colorado. We just ended the thing, and you know, that's what I want to do when we get in those situations. So you got to start working on it now.
You had a couple guys that I haven't seen out there yet. Curtis Hodges, Zach Robertson. Is there any updates on that?
Oh, you have to talk to Coach Edwards about that.
Is there anybody, Coach, who you think is like a sleeper type of a guy that maybe didn't play much last year on offense, but from what you've seen or just winter, how that went, that might sneak up on some people?
You know, it's kind of early to tell. I try not to base my decisions off of non-padded football practices because there seems to be a difference when you're allowed to get hit on how people react to different certain situations. So it's kind of hard to tell, but I am expecting some things out of a couple guys. One of them is Frank Darby, that did prove a little bit to everybody last year that he can catch the deep ball. But the things that he needed to work on were his intermediate routes and things like that, separation techniques. So I've seen him clearly come out and try to accomplish those things the last couple days. I thought, John Humphrey, I noticed, him too. Like, this is what he lacked. This is what he needed to work on. And immediately, if you had to ask me, it was those two guys that stood out as guys that went, okay, I'm fixing, all my stuff that I didn't do good last year. And they did. Last 2 days, they've done a good job.
Jalen Harvey moving over, when you heard that he wanted to do that, I guess he brought it up. Were you surprised at all, and how do you think that's going to go, just knowing him from last season?
I was a little surprised that he wanted to do that his last year, but in my mind, you always think of that guy like, I loved him on my side of the ball. And then in the back of the mind, you always look at him going, you know what, that dude would make a great safety. You're always thinking that. It's always in the back of your mind. So, and he's just, going out there and doing that and seeing what comes out of it. And he may move back, he may not. So we'll see.
If he doesn't move back, do you think Kyle's going to kind of slot into the role he was playing last year?
Yes. And I don't know if I've told you guys this or not, but at the end of fall practice last year, going into the first game, I thought Kyle Williams was our best receiver. Like, I thought let me say it this way, he had the best camp. Coming out of camp, he had the best camp. And he was lined up as the number 2 slot. And so I was like, hold on, man. This guy's not going to be sitting on the bench while we're playing the football game. So I moved him outside. And the reason he got moved outside, because he was a better option. Him outside and Jalen were better, those two guys on the field, than the other options that we had. So even though the outside receiver may not have been Kyle's natural position, that combination of those two on the field was the best combination we had.
What is it that makes him so? What is it that makes him that good? Is it just his talent, or the route running things?
He's talented. Okay, he's talented. He's quick. His body type is more like a running back slot type guy, but he's so intelligent and he cares so much that, if you moved him to quarterback, he's going to do everything you'd ask of him and try to do it perfectly on every snap, and he would be able to function there. I really do believe that. He'd be able to function there and get you through the end of the game or something, you know what I mean, at quarterback, because that's just the type of kid he is.
Played Wildcat quarterback in high school.
Hey, he sure did. Yeah, it's exactly right.
Do you look at it like Nikhil and Kyle are going to be starting? Kyle could be inside or outside, and we have to find a third guy now? Or?
Yeah, and I said that, in a couple interviews earlier before practice started, was I kind of know what to expect. Now, can those two guys get better? Oh, yeah, they're not even close to what I want them to become. However, I kind of I can game plan around, okay, I know what to expect out of those two guys. And then these other guys, Terrell Chapman, Frank Darby, John Humphrey, man, somebody's got to win that job over there. Let's see who's the best guy.
Does Newsom fit into this too? Where do you see him?
Same thing, like injuries or whatever. If Kyle had to move back outside, Ryan Newsom would be our guy inside right now, and that fits his role too. It's hard with some of the things that we do and what we believe in on the throws that we make to the outside receivers and what we coach for short guys to play there. It's just tough, man. And he's not going to get any taller. We can try to stretch him out, but it ain't going to happen. So, why try to force it? So, we're just going to put him there and let him just every day, he's just going to get as good as he can. And he can play in the backfield at like the running back slot type thing and do those type of things. He's got that body type.
How active do you like your running backs getting in the passing game in your offenses?
Oh, yes. Those are the hidden yards in college football. You got to, I'd like to have a running back have 40 catches, and I really would. We got to get the ball to those guys.
Collectively, on the quarterback group, how do you feel just about their improvement and the depth behind Andy, and just kind of what you're seeing overall at that position?
Right. It's a good question. And, is that when I coached the receivers last year, you're so involved in watching your guys trying to get just getting it right, just getting the foundation built. That you don't. There's sometimes I'd go through the film and I'd watch Team Skelly. I never even looked and saw who the quarterback was. I had no idea, because I'm just like looking at my guys so much. So it's hard, it's hard to tell at this point until they can get cycled through the insertion of the offense. But I'll say this: what I saw from Tuesday, we met, we watched the film, we made adjustments, we corrected our mistakes, and then came out today. If they could make the improvements that they made in one day like they did today, I will be pleasantly, I'll be happy. I'll be ecstatic, because they did a phenomenal job today on being coached and making improvements. I mean, there's a couple times I looked over at Dylan and Blake, and I was like, wow. Then you guys look like a real live quarterback, man. That was in 2 days ago. It was ugly, and so just kind of doing some things, just them being coachable and being intense in their drops and knowing what they're doing. And I was very, very happy today with those guys. So I'll be able to answer that question a little more probably in two weeks.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
Very good.